Hello. Oh my gosh. Hi. This is exciting. My first live stream on YouTube. There's two of you. That's more than I thought there would be. There's two more than I thought there would be. You have to be subscribed to join the chat because I want to respect my subscribers first. There's four of you. Wow. I don't know if there's going to be more people, but if you want to drop in the chat, hello, you can. But you just got to be subscribed. Hello. Of course, my mother is the first person to chat. This thing is on. Is this thing on? I don't know. So today, I'm here to answer singing questions, but I'm also here to yeah, sorry. My mom is my number one fan, whoever. So I kind of want to wait a little bit before we get into it because I do have a breathing thing to talk about. But there were two people on here and then they decided to dip, so we'll see. Jen does win number one fan. You're number two, though. All right. So if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat at any time. Oh, hello. Wow, all the way from Belgium. Welcome. So this is all to say, we're going to start with a little breathing breath support. I have notes. A breath support tutorial. This is something that some subscribers have talked about a lot more. They've wanted more in-depth videos about this, and I figured today would be a good day for that. And I would consider this to be like my weekly video for this week since I'm just trying out all of this. Hello, everyone. So today we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk, I'm going to put it in the chat so y'all can see it. We're going to talk about diaphragmatic breathing versus Appoggio, which is a type of breathing style that is more from the bel canto school of thought. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So y'all have probably heard of like diaphragmatic breathing, like use your diaphragm, blah, blah, blah. It's, to me, not that comprehensive. Never in my life have I felt my diaphragm, even though I use it all the time as a singer. And so when someone says, use your diaphragm, I think it's kind of like the first question is how and why? And like, what does that mean? So diaphragmatic breathing, right, is the idea that when you breathe in nice and low, as you exhale, you're kind of pushing in or pulling in the muscles to draw the diaphragm up to compress the lungs or decompress the lungs, I should say, and let the air out. So it's more of like a pop vocal focus when it comes to that kind of breathing. I'm so sorry. This is so new to me. I'm like, how do I function? So when you're doing this, you are breathing in nice and low and you push the air out and the diaphragm will kind of be pushed up. Thanks. Into the lungs and your lungs will decompress. Then you have Appoggio breathing. Appoggio breathing is like the trademark of classical style singing. And it's the idea that when you breathe in nice and low, you kind of suspend the air to a certain extent. And as you breathe out, you are trying to slow the rate with which your diaphragm decompresses the lungs. So you are sort of maintaining the structural integrity of your torso. And there's a gal who has a really good video on YouTube. Her channel is pretty good too. You could check her out if you want. Her channel is called Sing Wise. She does a good breath support series as well. And so I'm kind of saying some of these things in my own words here. But what I would describe diaphragmatic breathing as, and these are like metaphors that she doesn't use in her video, but that I think of, is almost like you are a tube of toothpaste and you are squeezing, if this is the bottom of the torso up, you're squeezing the toothpaste from the bottom up. The air is going from here and it's moving up as you exhale. You're using your muscles to engage and squeeze the torso. And with Appoggio breathing, it's like your torso is a balloon. And when a balloon flies around the room, it doesn't fully decompress all the way. all at once, or half of it is like collapsing and the other half is fine. It's moving equilaterally at a slow rate as it decompresses. So thinking of the structural integrity of your torso as a balloon, it moves inward. If you have questions, if this is going too fast, you can drop them in the chat. I'd also love to answer your questions, if they are related to breathing or not. But if any and all questions at all, I have no idea how long this live stream is going to go. I'm going to try to be on here for at least 10 to 20 minutes. But if you have questions, I would love to answer them. So diaphragmatic breathing is a little bit more pop singing focused. It's like a tube of toothpaste kind of breathing. And then Appoggio breathing is like the balloon. And there's so many ways that you can practice these breathing techniques. Diaphragmatic breathing, it's just about engaging that core, and like you can suck it in or like pull in those core muscles. And it's also, oh, I'm so glad this is clear to you. If you do forceful breathing exercises like shh, 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 you can practice that diaphragmatic breathing, where you're just saying all these consonants quickly and detached. That's practicing diaphragmatic breathing versus Appoggio breathing. And that's where you can practice like box breathing, where you breathe in and then you hold and then you breathe out. And you can do exercises like that to help you practice suspending the breath. Oh, I will do more live videos if you really like this. Laryngeal massage, that's great. Is this, I'm assuming this is your question. Laryngeal massage is a really lovely way. I like to do it as a vocal cool down, but if you tend to be really tense and you like to grind your teeth at night and you have a tense jaw and you have a lot of TMJ or like neck tension, you can start your practicing with that. But the larynx itself, the way you find it, if you aren't a guy and you don't have an Adam's apple, you can basically draw your fingers up the trachea and you feel the ridges of your trachea, and then it kind of fans out. That's your larynx. You can also feel it because when you speak, it should be humming. It should be vibrating. And it's flexible. You can move it back and forth like this, which is kind of freaky to do. And you can do it while you're speaking, as I am doing here. But you can grab it. And I think the easiest basic laryngeal massage, to answer your question, would be to yawn and gently drag the larynx down. That's an easy way to bring it down. It's hard to massage the internal muscles of the larynx because you can't really reach in there. So it's more about external muscles that surround the larynx, basically ways to relax your neck. Relaxing these muscles, the sternocleidomastoid muscles right here. You can do that by pressing on your chest and just stretching and finding an angle that works for you, and then breathing through that and doing it on the other side. But I think those are two ways you can approach laryngeal massage, or we call that myofascial release. All right. If I let all my air out, like doing until I run out of air, and then open my mouth, I breathe automatically, like my belly is getting big. No, you're totally fine. Your English is great. Is that diaphragmatic? So we're talking, I should clarify, the diaphragmatic breathing and the Appoggio breathing is mainly talking about the exhalation. So if you are talking about your inhalation, which is, it sounds like you're talking about your inhalation, right? Like when you breathe in, that is the same for diaphragmatic and Appoggio breathing. So when you're breathing in, I'm going to stand up. When you breathe in, your belly should come out like that. It should not be a heave with your shoulders and your chest. And that goes for both diaphragmatic and Appoggio breathing. So it doesn't matter if you breathe in really fast, that's totally fine. If you breathe in really slow, that's totally fine. But as long as it's nice and low, the position of the inhale is way more important than how fast or slow it is. Does that make sense? That's what it sounded like to me. That your question was. Okay. Do you find a lot of these things commonly intuitive to you, or come intuitively to you, or is it something that comes with more practice in regards to laryngeal massage and diaphragmatic breathing? Um, I had to practice for a long time before any of this made sense, and especially for breathing. I think breathing properly, we all know how to do it as babies, and then there's an actual developmental stage when we reach the age of like 3 or 4, where we start to mimic what our parents or people around us are doing, typically adults who have really, really bad breathing techniques. And we start to do that. We start to breathe more shallowly, especially if we're sitting at a desk at school for long hours of the day or at work for long hours of the day. We breathe shallowly. So there's a lot of ways that we basically um, develop poor technique, and it is intuitive until a certain age, and then after that age we have to actively practice it. So I mean, I've been doing this for I think it was 16 years last month that I started voice lessons, which is crazy. I would consider that the start of my training. So it's a lifelong process, to answer your question. And then with laryngeal massage, I mean, that's just something that I like a lot of people hold tension in my neck and my back. And some people hold it in their jaw. Some people hold it just in their neck. And so that just comes with like figuring out what feels good. I had vocal ulcers at one point in time. And so I had to better myself by getting some help from an ENT who told me, in addition to taking some antacids and going on a specific diet and not speaking very much if I could help it, doing laryngeal massage, like myofascial release is the medical term. Myofascial release did a world of wonders to help relax all the muscles and to train myself to keep them relaxed. Although that's something that you can find plenty of videos on in YouTube. Okay, Peter. Hi, Peter. I love Taylor Swift's style, the way she belts. For example, in the song "I Knew You Were Trouble," love that song. She looks up in the veins. The veins in her throat are clearly visible. I would love to belt like her. Singers belt by looking up. Doesn't it cause strain? That's a really good question. Okay, so when you're doing this, when you're like trying to belt up, it's really hard to do that and specifically hinge at the neck. You can't really hinge at the neck. If you look at what she does, I'm assuming you're talking about like the Eras tour, right? She is fully back bent and her back is straight and her neck is aligned with her spine. So something to be aware of is your alignment of your torso. So if your neck is hinging and you're trying to belt, it's not going to work so good. But if you're aligned and you hinge at the hip, you're going to be way better off. This is because you're disconnecting your breath from your larynx when you hinge at the neck. And then you're also kind of disconnecting your larynx or your breath support from the shape of your mouth. So if you want to belt like Taylor Swift, I have a video in my to film list that will come out in the coming weeks on belting or the mixing, because I think belting is one of those. It's vocabulary. It's a term that a lot of people have different definitions for. And I think belting is just another way to say, it's another name for like a chest heavy mix. So just wanted to put that out there to answer your question. It's all about alignment. I don't know. I mean, how do singers look? But okay. Can you spell that? Can I spell? Oh, I'm assuming myofascial. Myofascial release. There you go. All right. So any other questions? Also, thank you all for being here. This is 7 more people than I assumed would be here. So if you like what you're hearing, thank you. I love talking with the people who have subscribed to my channel. This is so cool. I'm over here in Oregon. I don't know where in the world are you guys. I know I'm raised from Belgium, There's another one from Oregon. There's a couple from Oregon that I know because I asked them to be on the live stream to keep me company. But this is so cool. I'm just really really excited. In the coming weeks, we got a video on what your voice teacher doesn't tell you. And I know it's kind of a clickbaity title, but that'll be out next week. And that's kind of about how your voice teacher perceives you as a student, because I've been on both sides. I've been the student and I've been the voice teacher. And now we're going on 4 years of teaching, like solid teaching, although I've done more teaching than that in college for my degree. I've found that the perception you have as a student of what your teacher knows is very different than what your teacher actually knows and how your teacher is actually focused on helping you, what your teacher's job really is. So you can check back in next Friday. You are so welcome, Peter. I will totally be live more often. I love having a theme, like today's theme of like diaphragmatic and Appoggio breathing, and that being today's thing. You took your first singing lesson because of me? Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That's so cool. Congrats, Ray. I have a friend, I don't believe she's in Belgium. She's in the Netherlands, which is like your next door neighbor, technically. But I have a friend who's a really prominent teacher over there named Sarah. I can't pronounce her last name. Sarah Algut, something like that. She's really talented, and she does a lot of metal vocal techniques, like extreme vocal techniques, like screams and growls and stuff like that. She's very cool. And she teaches virtually. So Cat Stevens, Wild World. I love it. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, my whole goal with this channel, although it started because I have my own songs and I've written a lot of music, and I'm on, have my Spotify, my music videos and whatnot. I found that I find a lot more fulfillment from just telling people, like sharing my knowledge of singing with people, because I trained for so long and I did opera for 10 years before I did singer-songwriter things. So I have like both sides of the coin. So if you have any other things, we'll probably wrap this up in the next few minutes, but I just want to give everyone a chance. If you have questions that I haven't answered, or if you have any topics for videos you would like me to cover in the future, or if you have, is there a live stream schedule? Like, would you want this every month or every other week? Like, how often do you want me to live stream? Because I would be happy to do this more often if that's what you want. I'm just, yeah. It once a month seems like a cool gig. Absolutely. I could totally do this once a month. I have my own private studio, right? So I teach private lessons. And with them, we do a studio class every other month where they sing for each other and then they give each other feedback and I moderate. And it's a great way to learn from other students. And as a student, you're teaching, so you're making that information go a little deeper in your brain. But it's also cool because they get inspired from each other. So I have had some students be like, "Can we do this every week?" I'm like, that's crazy. That's way too often. But we do like every other month for that. So what is the science behind people's vocal tone improving as time goes on? That's a very good question. Thanks, Joe. Also, I would love to know where in the world you guys are. Like, I don't know where you, Ray's in Belgium. Peter, where are you from? Joe, where are you? There was another gal earlier, a guy, I don't know. There's someone else earlier. Harsha, don't know where you're from. Would love to know where you guys are from. Okay, the science behind people's vocal tone improving. I can tell you right now, I don't know the exact science, like the anatomical science of what happens. But I can tell you that the reason why people's vocal tone improves is mainly what I see with my students is better breath support and better vowel refinement. There's so many books on singing out there, and there's one by a gal named Lily Lehman, who was an opera singer in the late 1800s, and she talks about, like, for most of this book, which I've read snippets of, but most of this book, she talks about vowel refinement and basically how important that is. And then the other half of the book, she talks about breath support. And like, if those are the two things you focus on, you're probably going to have good vocal technique. Oh my gosh, South Africa, London, Oregon, so many people. That's so, wow, you guys are up late. It's like, it's lunchtime here. That's crazy. So the science behind it is essentially you put in your reps, you practice, you work away, you chip away at your technique. Over time, it becomes second nature. It is athletic, just like learning a sport, hand-eye coordination. I feel like with South Africa, it's football, right? That's like a big thing down there. The foot-eye coordination in that case. You put your reps in and you get better and better and better. Your vocal tone improves in the same way. You put in your reps, your breath support improves. You put in your reps, your valve refinement improves. It gets more refined. As far as anatomical science, I have no idea, but that's a great question. All right, my friends, I say we wrap this up. If you have any other questions, drop them in and I'll add them to my list for the live chat next time. Otherwise, you can always comment on my videos with video ideas. I write and record videos based on what you guys ask me to do. So it's very, very much all about you guys. So just let me know. We don't do a lot of technique, just a lot of singing. Apparently I was singing all the time on the third interval. Like, oh, interesting. So were you like singing just a little bit, like you were in tune, but you were not on the melody? That's interesting. I think that's what you mean. The third interval, tears. I've never heard that. It's an interesting term. Well, every teacher's a little different. Some teachers like to fling you in and be like, let's sing. Let's just sing right now. And then you learn in context. I'm someone who likes to start with, let's learn technique. And then after a couple weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, it just depends on the person, then we actually apply that technique and use it in context. So every teacher is different. There's no right or wrong way to approach how to sing, but it's really up to you. All right. Much love from Oregon, and I will see you next Friday. Thanks for being here. Bye.